Hey, how's everyone doing? I figured I'd take a moment to address pretty much all the issues with the Gen 3 Sabers. I've had some questions regarding uh, different, different, you know, I don't know, different issues about the Gen 3s, and conversely, probably the Gen 4s. Um, First off, this video is kind of intended to show um, one of my young subscribers out there. Well, I'm assuming that he's young. Um, how to change the blade on his Gen 3. So, the first thing you need to locate when you receive your Gen 3 is this. This is a hex key. And the second thing that you need to locate is the blade retention screw. Now, this is my progenitor, and he apparently has an aggressor. My aggressor no longer works, so for purposes of having a semi-quasi-functional saber, I'm using my progenitor. So the one thing you need to remember is the basic rule with tightening or loosening of screws: lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So in order to loosen this blade retention screw, you fit your hex key into the screw, and you're going to turn it to the left. And you don't need to turn it too much, just maybe about a turn and a half. And then you can remove your blade plug. Okay, I'll put that down for now. Now, this is not the usual blade that comes with a Gen 3 or a Gen 4. This is just an Ultra Sabers blade. It's a really small 24-inch blade. For the purposes of what I'm going to do here, this is sufficient. The end cap is also the end cap for a custom saber shop blade. So, what you need to do when you get your blade is, if it came with an end cap, I'm not sure if Infinity V4 blades actually come with an end cap. I don't remember whether they do or not, but usually there will be an end cap, and the purpose of that is to keep dust from getting into the blade, because dust will kind of get onto the film inside the blade, and when you turn the blade on, or when you turn the saber on, it'll be apparent inside, especially one of the Infinity V4 blades, because they kind of like a translucency to them. So essentially, you just take your blade and you'll insert it into the blade holder. And if you can see, I don't know, because I'm filming off to the side here, there is a LED inside the hilt that's held into place by a retention screw of its own. This being a S-type emitter, it doesn't have quite as much depth, so you can only get the blade in so far. And what you do is you insert it. I'm assuming this one will fit. I hope it does. It's kind of tight, a little bit too tight, but you insert it as far as it'll go. I usually kind of really push pretty profoundly or pretty strongly on it. I like to have the end of the blade really make contact with the LED to get the truest, most accurate color, and to utilize the depth of the blade holder, because obviously you'll want the blade to be in as far as it can go, so that it's secure. Now, as far as tightening up the blade retention screw, you just want to turn it until you start to feel it make contact, and then usually I give it about a quarter turn, and that's usually enough to get this screw to bite into the polycarbonate of the blade and lock it into place. So the next step is you'll kind of want to kind of swing it around in a nice safe location, where you don't have to worry about the blade flying out and possibly damaging something that someone's going to miss. You don't need to break anything, because who needs that kind of trouble? So that pretty much covers how to get the blade in, and hopefully that will help. The progenitor actually has, you can see the blade here, kind of simulates the little eye thing that you would have on a Graflex. So And the other thing, someone did want me to sort of demonstrate grip and how large the saber is, and show kind of a two-handed sort of grip. And this saber is sort of midway between or not midway, but it's midway between like a shoto, which is a one-handed saber. It's usually terminates about where my finger is there, and a standard apprentice size saber, which may go to about there. So you have your natural choke point here. So for one-handed, you would hold it something like this. For two-handed, swordplay doesn't really work like this. You don't really want to strangle the saber. That will really affect your performance. So generally speaking, as far as most Japanese swordsmanship, you're sort of holding it towards the end of the saber. So there is enough room for that, and the this kind of is what's sort of holding it, and this is just kind of guiding it. But you want to hold it loosely, and the point is to kind of be flexible so that you can do all kinds of things. Holding it two-handed is really limiting, and it only allows you to do certain strikes. Whereas if obviously if you're doing spins, you can't be doing that two-handed. But if you want to really lay into someone, two-handed would be done, something along these lines. And that's pretty much how that works. Now, the other thing is, I'm asked often, constantly, do I think that these sabers are dual ready? And the short of it is, no, I don't think these are dual ready. And the reason being is, the hilts themselves are fine, the blades are fine. Even with a smaller blade holder, that's fine as well. I don't anticipate this would fall apart. Physically, it seems fine. However, from the standpoint of electronics, pretty much, and I haven't really, I don't have any of the Gen 4s yet, but I have heard rumors that they're not that much better than the Gen 3s. And to be perfectly honest, the Gen 3s, their electronics are complete garbage. They're not up to the task. I have all six of the Gen 3s. This is one of them that I consider to be a dud. The sound effects, or there's random firing of clashes and swings, and it's a hot mess. The same thing with my Ranger and my Aggressor. The reason I'm not using my Aggressor is because the swing functions don't work on that anymore. So I have 3 sabers remaining. One is my Defender. I don't use my Defender because it's a laceration nightmare. It's too sharp. The handle's too... You can't be vigilant enough when you're handling a saber to be watching out for misplacing a finger and getting a deep cut. That happened to me on my pinky. And so I don't use that saber. So that leaves my Stalwart. My Stalwart is the saber that died, and I sent it into Saberforge to be repaired. And that saber, although it works... the interesting thing is, when I kind of stack my sabers up in a location, and every once in a while something makes contact with a Stalwart, it'll actually turn on and not turn on. It'll illuminate, and that's a little bit unsettling to me. That indicates that there's a short in there somewhere. So what does that leave? That leaves my that's my antagonist. I'm sorry, that's my antagonist. My Aggressor is my weathered saber. Now I'm getting all confused. It's my Stalwart is sorry about this. My Stalwart is the one that I sent in for repairs. That's the one that seems to have a short. It is my Aggressor. That's my weathered saber. That's the only one that seems to work, and I wouldn't put it up to the test of dueling. So just be known. If you want to have functioning electronics in your saber, be it to just have a stunt configuration, or even to use sound, if you're just dueling with your friends, unless you want to be dreadfully embarrassed, I would probably avoid getting any of the Eco Sabers for that purpose. In fact, when I get my my two Gen 4s that I ordered, depending on how those two sabers fare, um, it'll be kind of the end of the line for me, and I don't really care what they come out with for Eco Sabers after that. It's not worth the money if you're going to buy a saber and you can expect it to die from minimal use. I mean, it's not like people are heavy dueling and they're dying. They're actually just like with my stalwart, I had only turned it on a few times and then it just stopped working, and that's been happening to a lot of people. I would say probably of all the sabers out there that have been sold, maybe, conservative estimates, maybe 20-25% of them just died. And then maybe another 10 or 15% have flaws. And maybe if you're lucky, you've got like 50 or 60% of them, work the way they're supposed to. But I think the electronics that went into those were just so mass produced, and the order was filled so quickly. I think just something happened, and the quality control from China just wasn't happening. So anyway, so let's turn this on and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And this is a functioning one.
Power on.
It really annoys me.
Saberforge Meridian.
So this is okay. This is actually not so bad. It's usually a lot worse. See, you get the gist. So basically, what I usually do to compensate for that, if I want to use this, is I just kind of, whoops, 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. I just turn it into a stun saber. It actually, when you turn it into a stun saber, it doesn't just mute it. It actually turns off all of the clash and swing features that kind of affect the electronics and provides a bit of stability. So, I mean, I would say that if you bought one of these and you wanted to use it as a stun saber, that would probably be fine. I recommend stun sabers for dueling anyway. The sound sabers, unless you're just, messing around with friends, it's kind of not necessary. But who's to say that this just won't die, with a couple good hits, and before you know it, it's dead. And, you pay $100, now it's $120 for a stun saber, only to have it die, and then you have to ship it to Saberforge and hopefully have them fix it. And at this point, I would suspect, even though they prioritize repairs, it would probably take a good long while before you get the thing back. So, you end up waiting several months just to have a semi-functioning saber, and it's going to die anyway, even after they've repaired it. I would you're better off just saving your money, buying something a little bit better. In fact, I have, and people kind of poo-poo this, but one of the sabers I got from the patch store, my Maverick V2. Say what you want about the electronics and the quality of that saber, but it still works, and it works perfectly, just like the day I bought it. And it's had hours and hours and hours and hours, probably like hundreds of hours of use, and it's still going. Some of those other Chinese sabers, I don't know, their electronics just seem to hold up much better. My Kyber's basic works perfectly. My RG54, my Saber Monk saber there, works perfectly. I just ordered the Ghost. It's like I can't remember. It was like a Kyber's Ghost or something. One of my subscribers had sent me a link to a video, and that looked actually kind of good. And and I've actually seen videos that people have produced to show off saber choreography, and they've used that saber. So why not get them for $75? I know it will work. I know it'll probably continue working. I don't know. I don't know why Saberforge is having such an issue with these things. Must really suck for those guys that work there to have to deal with this, because it's probably taking up a lot of their time, and they're probably ruining the day that they you know they really got into the eco line and started generating the Gen 3s and 4s. But anyway, so I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that the Gen 4s will work fine. But yeah, we'll see. So I haven't received them yet. I don't have any notifications. Maybe next week's the week I'll start receiving things from Saberforge. I have a I have a an heiress, an apprentice heiress. I just hit 15 weeks and I'm still waiting. I emailed them and I said, hey, can I get a status or, kind of sit rep on any of my sabers? That was a week ago. They didn't get back to me. So I don't know, guys.
Saberforge Iridium.
I apologize if my videos have been kind of a bummer lately, but
Power off.
it is what it is. Anyway, so that's the word, the final word on the Gen 3s. Hopefully I answered everyone's questions in one fell swoop. So, obviously I invite you to, continue to comment, subscribe if you will. And as I'm always want to say, I do appreciate each and every one of you, no matter, what the nature of our exchanges are. I try to do my best. I'm not the most knowledgeable person on many things. I'm sure that there's a few people out there that'll agree on that. But I try, and I'm gracious, and, it's all about you guys. And, I just want to have fun. At any rate, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.